Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start today's video with a tale of a Karen, a grumpy cop, and one very stubborn hotel visitor. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Karen called the cops because I looked political, so I made them file the paperwork to untrespass me. I was sitting in the lobby of a mid-range hotel last weekend, just killing time before heading to a restaurant down the street. I wasn't staying at the hotel, but I've been there plenty of times before to meet friends at their bar or restaurant. I had my phone out, minding my own business, wearing jeans, sneakers, and a t-shirt with a political slogan on it. Nothing obscene, just something that tends to ruffle thin-skinned people. That's when I noticed two police officers walking through the front doors and heading straight toward me. "Sir, we need to get some ID," one of them said. Confused, I handed it over. The other officer, the one with the permanent scowl, said, "We've had a complaint from a guest. She says she doesn't feel comfortable with you here. We're going to have to ask you to leave the property until they tell us you're welcome back." I blinked at them. "What? I'm literally just sitting here waiting to go eat." "Doesn't matter," Scowly McBadge replied. "Hotel policy, private property." I could already smell the Karen all over this. No, I didn't know exactly which guest had called, but I knew the type. The kind of person who thinks their comfort outweighs anyone else's right to exist in public. So I stood up, walked slowly toward the exit, because if they were going to make a show of it, I might as well give them a nice long stare down and head to my car. They watched me the whole way, like I was going to suddenly pull a Mission Impossible stunt in the parking lot. Later that day, I called the hotel and asked to speak to the manager. She was polite, but awkward, like she was trying to balance a tray of drinks in a hurricane. Here's the thing. She said, "One of our guests made the call. She's, well, a little difficult. We wanted to make her happy, so we asked the police to have you leave. But you're absolutely welcome back anytime." I told her I appreciated the honesty and that I'd think about coming back. Truth be told, I didn't want to give them my business again, but I also wasn't about to let a Karen and a grumpy cop dictate where I could go. The next day, I walked right back into that hotel, this time heading straight for the restaurant. I got a table by the window, ordered a drink, and then did exactly what I planned. I called the police department. "Hi," I told the dispatcher. "I was trespassed from hotel name yesterday, but I spoke with the manager and have permission to be here now. Just letting you know so it's on record." The dispatcher sounded like I'd just asked her to alphabetize her DVD collection. Yeah, I'll have to send an officer to check." Of course, guess who shows up? Mr. Scowl himself. He walked in, locked eyes on me, and I swear I could see his soul sighing. He headed to the front desk, had a short conversation with the manager, who waved me over, and then pulled out a form. It was a trespass removal form, the kind they have to fill out to officially undo a trespass order. The manager signed it, I signed it, and the cop filled it out like he was writing his resignation letter. When it was done, I smiled and said, "Thanks for coming out. Enjoy the rest of your day." He didn't say a word, just turned on his heel and left. The restaurant manager gave me a half smile and muttered, "You didn't have to call them back, you know. That just makes more paperwork for everyone." "Oh, I know," I said, grinning, but I wanted to make sure I complied with all the policies. As I was digging into my meal, I caught sight of a woman walking toward the lobby doors, mid-50s, stiff posture, face like she'd bitten a lemon. She glared at me like I'd kicked her puppy. If I had to bet my bill, that was the Karen. So I raised my glass and gave her a little toast. She looked like she wanted to melt me with her eyes, but she kept walking. The rest of my lunch was fantastic, and now every time I pass that hotel, I think about how both the Karen and the cop had to watch me sit exactly where they didn't want me, this time with a steak and a smile. The hotel hid behind private property because a guest's vibes were off, not because you did anything. That's legal, but spineless. Your move, getting explicit permission and then summoning Scowl McBadge to ceremonially untrespass you, was immaculate petty compliance. Nothing like making a cop hit Control-Z on paperwork while you order a steak. And our second story. He counted his socks like gold, so I robbed the vault on my way out. My ex used to get mad at me for using his socks. He would tell me I was irresponsible for not keeping up after mine and then using his, only to misplace the pair I borrowed or having it dirty and not cleaning it immediately after using it. What if I wanted to wear that pair, he would ask. Mind you, I maybe borrowed 1 or 2 pairs a month, and it was just in between laundry days, and if rarely I noticed we were low on sock, I'd buy a couple packs. He got so fed up with me one day that he came home with like 6 packs of socks, gave me 4 and kept 2 for himself, told me I will not be touching his socks. He made sure they were a different color and style so he'd know if I grabbed one of his. Fast forward several months later to when I found out just how much of a piece of crap he was when he drinks. I moved out less than a week later, and I took every damn sock in that house. I deep cleaned a couple days before leaving, found every sock I could, under couches and beds, some falling behind and beside washing machine and dryer, did all the clothes, even went through his car, clothing drawers, and gym bag. I made sure there was not one damn sock left in the house when I left. Sometimes when I'm getting ready, I think about what I did. I smile. F that piece of crap. Edit. Not to excuse my action, but I was young. That was 10 years ago. I've changed. Who I was then and who I am now are 2 different people. I've changed and I've been working and trying for the better. I'm staying in my lane and just going to try to be the best version of myself I can be. Nowhere near there, but it's a work in progress. But hey, ain't that life? I will work on how to regret taking his socks after what he did to me. I can recognize it was immature to turn my emotions into an action like taking his socks. I'll work on it in therapy and hope he works on controlling his emotions, words, and physicalness when he drinks. And yes, he was abusive, only when he drank, and it took him a couple years to show his true side when drinking. At first, he was just embarrassing and rude when he drank. I brushed it off for a while until that one night. There was no place in that house that I was safe when he drank that night. He made sure of that. I allowed him to only do that once because I don't put up with that crap. Watched my mom being abused for years. I wasn't going to repeat a cycle when I know how it goes. Ends. This is petty, so belongs here, but you really didn't hurt him much. It was probably only a minor inconvenience. He could have just bought another 6 or 10 pack of socks. I would ignore those who felt you were so mean or so hurtful. And our last story. Not in the HOA? That's cute. We'll see about that. When I bought my house last year, one of the big selling points was that it wasn't part of an HOA. I've lived in apartments before, and I've heard enough HOA horror stories to know I never wanted to be at the mercy of some petty board. My realtor even confirmed the original owners opted out when the neighborhood was being built, so I could enjoy all the benefits of the area without the HOA nonsense. My house is on a quiet cul-de-sac in a neighborhood where almost everyone else is under the HOA. My backyard backs directly onto the backyard of a woman I'll call Linda. Linda's on the HOA board, and if there were a poster child for power-tripping suburban busybodies, it'd be her. We met the week I moved in, though met might be too polite a word. She came striding into my yard without knocking, arms crossed, no smile, and the first thing out of her mouth wasn't, "Welcome to the neighborhood." Nope. She looked straight at my pit bull, Daisy, lounging on the porch and said, "I don't like pit bulls. They're dangerous. You need to keep her under control." I explained very calmly that Daisy was 9 years old, had hip dysplasia, couldn't jump the fence if she tried, and had never harmed anyone. My yard was fully fenced with chicken wire at the bottom. There was no way Daisy could get to her little fluff ball of a dog. Then I told her plainly, "I'm not part of the HOA. Your rules don't apply here." She didn't like that. A week later, I started getting letters. Stupid, nitpicky violations, taking my trash can to the curb too early, my porch light being too bright, even wrong style of doorbell frame, all from the HOA. I wrote back each time stating I wasn't a member and they had no authority. Still, the letters kept coming. Then came the knock on the door. Linda again. "You might not be in the HOA now," she said, "but all properties in this neighborhood should be. It's only fair. You get the benefit of our rules without paying dues." I told her she was free to believe whatever she wanted, but legally my house was exempt. That's when she smirked and said, "We'll see about that." And boy, did she try. A month later, I got a final warning threatening fines for HOA violations. I took the letter straight to the county property office. The clerk pulled my deed, my title, and every legal record for the property and confirmed in writing that I was not and had never been part of the HOA. They even gave me a stamped copy to wave in anyone's face if needed. I sent the HOA board a cease and desist letter, CCing a lawyer friend. I included the county documentation and informed them any further harassment would be met with legal action. That should have been the end, but Linda couldn't let it go. One afternoon, I came home to find her in my yard, leaning over my fence to take pictures of Daisy. When I asked what the hell she was doing, she claimed she was documenting dangerous behavior. Daisy was literally sunbathing. I told her she had 10 seconds to get off my property or I'd call the police. She left, muttered about how she was just trying to protect the neighborhood. The next week, she filed a complaint with animal control, claiming my dog was aggressive and had charged her. The officer who came out was polite, but clearly skeptical. Daisy greeted him with tail wags and immediately flopped over for belly rubs. The case was closed on the spot. That was the last straw. I printed every HOA letter, every fake violation, in the county property records. I filed a harassment complaint and sent a formal notice through my lawyer demanding Linda cease all contact with me and my property. The HOA board, probably tired of being dragged into her crusade, officially voted to bar her from initiating any enforcement or complaint against non-members. 2 months later, I learned from another neighbor that Linda had been removed from the board entirely. Apparently, she'd been harassing not just me, but multiple residents, even some in the HOA with her pit bull panic and random rules. She didn't take it well and ended up screaming at the board president during a meeting, which got her banned from attending for the rest of the year. Oh, wow. What's wrong with people who don't understand boundaries, even with an HOA in their corner? Linda read Homeowners Association like it meant homeowner of your home. And that's the whole comedy. You bought a deed, not a membership card, and she tried to enforce vibes instead of laws. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.